everybody. Welcome back to the Dear Future Pioneers podcast. My name is Carissa Munoz, and I'm your host. And today we are actually beginning a 2-part series. How exciting. I know. You didn't think you were going to get a 2-part series in this podcast, but you are, because life is full of surprises, and I just threw you a curveball. So today's episode is going to be, and next week's episode, is going to be about the Performing Arts program here at Sacred Heart University. And the reason that this is going to be a 2-part series is because I didn't feel that it would do justice to cram all of our performing arts opportunities into one episode, because there are 4 special parts to the Performing Arts program. And those include theater arts, dance, band and orchestra, and choir. So in these 2 episodes, you are going to hear all about all 4 of those and get to see a little bit of a senior perspective, as you do with every single episode on this program, and learn more about what Sacred Heart really has to offer when it comes to performing arts. I'm not a member of the performing arts community here at Sacred Heart, but it is such a large presence on campus. And I think if anything on this podcast senior project deserved 2 episodes, it would be this, because each section is so unique into what it has to offer for our students that I think it's really important that it gets the time it deserves. So in today's episode, we are going to be focusing on the theater arts program and the dance program. And next week's episode is going to be the other 2, band and orchestra and choir. And within these experiences, we're going to talk about what it looks like outside of the classroom, how students can get involved. And another really cool thing about the performing arts sector at Sacred Heart is that you can really take this involvement further into the classroom if you wanted to. Within our performing arts program, there are opportunities to major in and minor in some of our performing arts areas. So like the media arts department you can get a BA in theater arts, you can get a BA in music, you can have a dance minor, you can have a music minor, you can even have a theater arts minor if you wanted to. The opportunities are endless here. Like, if you really know that you want to do something in performing arts, you can add it to your academics. It doesn't just have to be something that you do on the time that you are outside of the classroom. I think that's really special. So a lot of our seniors that are going to be coming in may have experience with that. They may not. But knowing that the opportunity is there is really special. So I hope you guys sit back, relax, learn a bit about our performing arts area. And another fun thing before we get started, Sacred Heart is actually in the midst of doing some construction along the lines of giving our academic building and the performing arts sectors a whole area dedicated to themselves. So there's going to be new dance studios, new places for our theater arts programs to practice and perform, and they're really going to get the space that they deserve on campus. So that's another really cool thing. So this episode, next week's episode, is going to be jam-packed with a lot of information, and I hope you guys enjoy. So without further ado, let's get started with our program. I'm here with my friend Abby today to go over the theater arts program, part of our performing arts here at Sacred Heart. How are you doing today, Abby?
I'm well. How are you?
I am well. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I love talking about performing arts.
Oh, of course. You want to introduce yourself for our viewers today?
Yeah. Hi, guys. My name's Abby. I'm a senior. I'm from New Hampshire. I am a strategic comm, PR, and advertising major with sociology and theater arts minors. I am the president of the theater arts program for the 2nd year. I've been on the e-board for 3 years, and I'm about to be done being president because we transfer the e-boards before the end of the year. So time is beginning to come to a close with TAP, which is sad.
Yeah, well, congratulations on being on e-board for 3 years.
Thank you.
Your reign is, dwindling down. You get to enjoy it. That's lots of fun.
Yeah.
So, today we're just going to go over a bunch of different things regarding theater arts. And I know you have all that knowledge in there, so I'm sure you're going to get a lot of great information. So first, kind of want to break down, the theater arts program as a whole. Like on the website, they give a lot of different opportunities that people can get involved in when it comes to theater arts. Not always being performing. It could always be like behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So do you kind of want to give a little bit of like a breakdown within the performance aspect of theater arts? I know that it shows that, you have acting and then you also have musical theater, and it says that there's 3 of each. usually 2 main shows, and then we have 4 in our black box theater. So
Yes.
do you want to expand upon that?
Yeah, so you can participate in the theater arts program regardless if you're a major or minor or nothing at all. Anyone can participate. So we do 6 shows a year, and that's on our basic calendar. We actually do way more than that, but 6 is what our original structure is. We do 3 per semester. We do 4 shows in our little theater, our black box theater, which is next to Holly Lounge, and then we do 2 on our main stage on the Edgerton. We do 2 plays and 2 musicals in the little theater, and 1 play and 1 musical on the main stage. So each stage gets a taste of each, and we vary between play, musical, play, musical, play, musical. So that way there's a big variety throughout the entire year. Besides the 6 shows this past year, we added a 7th. We did A Christmas Carol on the Edgerton stage this past December, which was a play, not a musical. We have Theater Fest, which is a student playwriting festival that we have, where any student can write their own show, submit it, and then it's made up of an entirely student produced team. So that includes like creative team, cast, tech crew, everyone's a student. So that's also a great way to get involved if you're not in one of the, main stage or little theater shows. We have improv shows once every month, which is like a big hit. Everyone loves going to those. We have coffee houses. But yeah, the possibilities are endless with what you can involved in, and performance and backstage as well.
That's awesome. I feel like I didn't know that like our performing arts had so many opportunities to get involved. Like sometimes, I mean, I've never done theater arts before. So when I think of like the TAP program, it's like, okay, like the plays that they promote and the musicals, like I honestly didn't even think about the other things that you get involved in.
Yeah.
So that's very, very cool. Can you just like explain, especially for me, because I don't know the difference,
Sure.
like what's the difference between a main stage performance versus like a black box?
Sure. So a main stage is like our Edgerton Center for the Performing Arts, which is like your typical, like a Broadway theater, for example, like where you walk in, there's the full audience, and then facing when you walk in, there's the stage, and it's usually pretty massive. Black box, on the other hand, is a much smaller studio, and it's meant to allow for more intimate performances in a way. So our black box theater, we call it our little theater, an appropriate name, and it seats about 75 people versus our Edgerton seats 775. Yeah. So big difference. It allows for close proximity to the audience more, and it really is. It's called a black box theater because it's basically like a black room. Mm-hmm. Very small, very intimate. You're really close to the audience. It allows for energy to be bounced quicker off each other. So like the play that we're currently doing in there, it's very high energy, very high stakes all the time. And if we were to put that show on the Edgerton stage instead of the little theater stage, it would not be the same show because we would have to take up more space to bounce that energy off of each other, if that makes sense. So it kind of just allows, honestly, for more intimate experience.
Yeah. I think that's cool that we have 2. Would you say that's normal for schools to have both those theaters, or is it kind of unique when you were looking at schools? Yeah. So
I would say it's more common for BFA programs, which is Bachelor of Fine Arts. We are just a BA program, Bachelor of Arts. So it's honestly really unique that our BA program has a black box theater. So, and also something that we allow here is when we do our Edgerton shows, our main stages, we only do 1 weekend of shows, which is 4 shows. When we do them in the little theater, we do 8 shows, so 2 weekends. And the point of that is that, honestly, we just can't have the Edgerton for that long because it is used across the entire university when the little theater is really only used by the TAP program. So allowing us to do 2 weekends in the little theater kind of gives us a little glimpse into what it would be like to work in the real world, because it allows for a longer run. It allows for you to see what it's like to take a break. So like, for example, we haven't performed it for 3 days and now we're going back in tomorrow,
right? Which
isn't very common. And it also helps with stamina, and it helps you grow as a performer because you have more chances on stage in front of an audience to develop your character, which we don't necessarily have the opportunity to do as much on a main stage.
That's very cool. I mean, I've never been in the little theater before. I would honestly like Maybe I have to come see your show.
You should come. It's honestly so fun. Everyone's eating it up. So you should come.
I feel like I'm also so impressed by like how many shows you guys produce, like let alone like a year, but let alone a semester.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm like, okay, I know this show's happening. And then I see another one being promoted and I'm like, oh, didn't they just finish one? Like, I think I take a break.
Yeah.
You guys are just on top of it.
Yeah, we do multiple shows at once. So even if like one show's like, for example, Moon Over Buffalo is happening right now, but we've been working on Rocky for like 2 months already.
Yes.
So even though one is still going on, we're still working on other shows at the same time. Everything's always overlapping.
Okay. So a question now that you say that you do multiple shows at once, so it's a lot of different opportunities for people to get involved. Do you have students who like say they're working on one project in the little theater, and I'm assuming Rocky is going to be a main stage performance. So say they want to do both, like how does that work with like practices and getting that totally like...
Yeah. So the sky is the limit. You can participate in as much as you want. When you go in to be a part of a show, whether that's like interviewing for a creative team or a tech crew member or auditioning to be on stage, because academics come first always, you fill out a conflict sheet with your class schedule and everything on there. So that way that the production stage manager is able to schedule rehearsals around your classes, because even though we love theater, academics always comes first. Of course, that's why we're here. So it's definitely easy to work around with classes, but also you also can put down that you're a part of another production at the same time. And honestly, like the kids who are always put themselves out there, we know each other. We all know what we're a part of. We all know what we're doing at that time. So for example, like I'm also a part of Rocky Horror, but that stage manager knows that I'm in Moon Over Buffalo, so I'm excused from rehearsals during my time. But when I'm like not actively doing Moon Over Buffalo, whether in rehearsal or performance, I go to Rocky rehearsals. So you can be involved in as much as you want backstage and on stage.
That's very cool. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's like back and forth, like two different plays at once.
Yeah.
Like my brain would probably say one lyric from like a different show and be like, everyone's like, what? It's like, oh, no, my brain. Ignore me.
Yeah.
So kind of diving into like the technical design and behind the scenes work, how does that kind of like, say you want to get involved in that, how would you start of like looking to like apply? Is that an application process? Can anyone do it?
Sure. Yeah. So it's an interview. So here at Sacred Heart, we allow the creative team to be students, which includes a production stage manager, an assistant stage manager, producer, assistant producer, and assistant director. So the only adults really that are involved in productions include a director, a musical director, and a choreographer. Everyone else is a student, which is amazing. Yeah. Same thing goes for tech crew. That is also an interview, and that's like doing props. That's doing lighting, costumes, sound design, hair and makeup, stuff like that. It's an interview with our tech chairs, which are 2 members of our e-board. So 2 students interview you. And honestly, being a part of like tech crew is the best way to get involved, especially as a freshman. I kind of like to say that doing tech crew is like a rite of passage for a freshman because it's what, for me personally, got me like really sprung into the entire world of tap. And who knows, like 2 years later, I'll be president, you know, like you never know what's going to happen, but it's what made me fall in love with the program. I had never done anything tech in high school at all. And I jumped in fall semester freshman year, and I have grown so much in my backstage work with props crew, props design. I've learned to be a production stage manager, which is something I never thought I would do. It also gives you a greater appreciation for theater as a whole, because a lot of people talk about what happens on stage. You have no idea what happens backstage, and a production would not happen without the work of the backstage people. I've also loved learning how to production stage manage because it's helped with my major, and it helps with event planning and things like that. And it's a whole new love I would never have known I had if Sacred Heart didn't allow students to be involved in those types of activities. So I always say jump in right away to being involved, whether it's on stage or backstage.
That's fun. I mean, like even you saying that you've never done it before and you fell in love with it and also like has gotten you where you are now.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Thanks.
Also like within playwriting, I know you say that like tech and design is very much student run. Like you have the adults that are involved, but it is very much like a student driven like project. For playwriting, I know you've mentioned Theater Fest, which I'd love to hear more about.
Sure.
So when it comes to like the musicals and the plays that are on, can students write some and like contribute to that? Like, how do you guys go about picking what you guys perform?
Yeah, so actually our director Jerry picks all of like the basic 6 shows, because that's a whole thing with, you have to buy rights from, you know, the original producers and writers and all that stuff. But when it comes to other types of things like Theater Fest, anyone can submit a show. It can be a short 10-minute play, it can be a 30-pager, and we also do 3 rounds of Theater Fest. So anyone can submit to round 1, and we put all the shows up in a basic reader's theater, which is basically just, you have the binder of the script, you're not memorized, you stand up when you're in the scene, you read your lines, and you sit down when you're not in the scene. So it's really just like a public reading of a script.
Okay.
And then after that, some shows get cut down a little bit, and then we move on to round 2, where we do a black box production. So kind of like Little Theater. There's no costume, there's no set, there's no props, but actors are memorized, and there's basic blocking. So it's kind of like seeing the show on its feet more.
Oh.
And then after that, we have a round 3, which is a fully produced production. So usually only like 2 or 3 shows make it to round 3. And that's when you get everything. And that's when tech crew comes into play for Theater Fest, where you get costumes, you get lights, you get sound, you get props, you get hair and makeup, and you put on the whole thing. This year, actually, we've had some students write musicals, when usually it's just plays that have been entered into Theater Fest. But a couple kids ventured out and wrote musicals that made it to round 3, and now like they're on Spotify. Like it's
so
been really
cool.
great with the progression of new works, especially musicals this year. And actually, just last night we had auditions for a new works coffee house, which we're having next week. So it's kind of more like, instead of our usual coffee house, which is usually just like a set list of songs where singers come in, people are doing poems, people are doing slam poetry, people are reading like monodramas, people are singing original songs next week, which is really exciting. And it's the first year we've ever done that. So
whoa,
yeah.
Coffee house. We had like a coffee house like in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow I ended up in it my senior year playing guitar. I've never played guitar outside of that. I don't even know how that happened. Loved the experience, but I think that's so cool that it's also expanding on. And is that's how many times a year is coffee house?
We do coffee house every couple months, but this New Works coffee house is like the first year we've ever done it, and it's because of the path we've gone down was like integrating musicals into things, which people have been brave enough to do. And we weren't sure like what the turnout was going to look like for New Works coffee house auditions last night. It was like a full set list. People were amazing. I'm so excited for next week.
Oh, so fun. Good job, Sacred Heart. Way to get involved.
Yeah.
There's one other thing on the website that I actually didn't hear about like until looking into it, but do you know about the theater company Spotlight? I don't
A rep company? Yeah. So our repertory company is like a company within the theater arts program. It's kind of like an honors society of TAP. Nothing actually honor society, but it's like the kids in the TAP program that really care and really want to be there. So it's an invited group of students. And basically what those students get is more opportunities and like more than the rest of the program. So like every weekend we have like a workshop where we'll bring in a guest from the city. We'll bring in Dr. Bauer to do a resume workshop with us. We'll do a headshot day. We'll do play readings just to talk about new scripts we've never seen before. They take a spring break trip every year. So freshman year, I went to London, which we saw our director Jerry's show. He's a producer of Be More Chill, and that was performing in London during spring break freshman year. I went to Chicago last year. They just took a trip to LA a couple weeks ago for spring break.
Wow.
It's just this program where you get more opportunities. Our director Jerry and his wife have a company called CCT, which is the Connecticut Children's Theater. So you get to be a part of children's theater, which is an experience. It's different than regular theater. So it's like a nice learning experience that not a lot of other universities have, because doing children's theater is so different than doing a regular quote unquote show, you know?
Yeah. I'm not to steer off guard here, but what is children's, like, how would you explain that?
Honestly, it's hard to explain. It's kind of just like they write their own original shows, but it's kind of like if Winnie the Pooh were a musical or something.
Okay.
So actors are still, being authentic actors and everything, but a children's audience is the most honest audience you'll ever get, because if you're not funny, they will not laugh.
That's
or
true.
like if you are not entertaining, they will start wriggling in their seats. They will get bored. They will start screaming. So it's just a great way to really go back to like your roots of theater and like figuring out your character and keeping an audience interested, even if they're 7.
Okay. That's a different type of training for sure. Okay. Well, thank you for that overview. I feel like we got a lot there. Kind of to go back to like your involvement with Sacred Heart's theater arts program. When did you, and I know you said you've been on the e-board for 3 years, did you start freshman year? Like, how did you get involved with the program?
Yeah. So actually I came in, so the theater arts program, or the performing arts program in general, allows for grants. So that's why I was interested in this school, is because I was like, oh, I can get some cash for doing performing arts, still cool.
Yeah.
So I came in actually with a choir grant. And then when I got here, but I still knew I wanted to do theater on the side, but my grant was going to be in choir. So wherever your grant is where like you have to give most of your priority to. So I was like, oh, I'll keep doing theater on the side. I didn't really want it to be I was like, it'll be a side hobby in college. That changed. But I got here and I was getting involved with the theater program, and I just enjoyed it so much. I switched my grant to theater pretty quickly. And after that, I got involved in the first black box musical of the semester, which was Falsettos, and I was props crew for that. So that's why I said get involved right away with crew.
Right.
And it was a blast. I was like blown away by the talent that this school had. And it's because of like the prestige of our professors and the quality and the expectations they have for us. And after that, I just kept getting involved. And then going into sophomore year, I applied for e-board, and I was a tech chair myself. So I did that for 1 year, kept doing shows, was working backstage, was doing prop stuff, was doing some assistant stage managing. And then going into junior year, I applied for e-board again, and I became president, and then I started doing production stage managing. So I took that extra step up in backstage positions. And then, I've just kept getting involved. Last year, I decided to audition again, which was the first time I auditioned since high school. First time I was on stage besides Theater Fest since high school, and I was in a chorus line. And then, this year, president again, and I would production stage managed a show in the fall again, and I'm on stage again right now. That's so awesome. I kind of got to do it all. I got to get my backstage experience, and then I decided I'm going to go back and try to audition again, and I did, and now I'm doing both, and couldn't have asked for a better combo.
Gotta get it all in there.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Also tangent. Chorus line was so good.
Thanks.
She killed it in that, mind you. I was sitting there like, oh my God, queen.
Oh, thank you. So
fun. I wish I could do theater. It is not my skill set, but I love watching people do it.
Well, we wouldn't have it if people didn't love to watch it.
That's cute. Love
That's
that.
True.
It kind of like when you think about your experiences over the past 4 years, how would you say it compares to the experiences that you've had like in high school or like before college?
Yeah. Wow, that's a loaded question. We're getting into that second semester senior reflective time.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I mean, I loved my high school drama program. It was great. It was a basic high school drama program for you high school theater kids out there. We did the basic Little Mermaid, Thoroughly Modern Millie, stuff like that. But when you get to college, I don't know. I'm from New Hampshire, so I wanted to get away from home a little bit. And I really fell upon this gem of Sacred Heart University and the theater arts program they have. I knew they had theater arts and performing arts, but I had no idea how great it was and how much I would absolutely love it and be grateful for it. Again, loved high school. This is 10 times better because of the opportunities it's allowed me, for the privileges it's given me. It's just, our program is seriously unlike any other, especially being a BA and not a BFA program. That's a big question with a lot of kids, is like, why should you go to a BA instead of a BFA? You can get a lot out of a BFA. BFAs are incredibly competitive. It's like really tough. I was never going for a BFA, but I'm so glad I didn't, because I think this is like the top BA program in the country. I just couldn't even possibly fathom what I would get out of my college theater experience in high school. It's unreal.
Yeah. I mean, like even not being a BFA, BA, learning so many terms today, not even like having that, title that everyone's looking for if you really want to go for theater. We have such a big presence on campus with the theater arts program to begin with. Like, we literally, if somebody calls it, the first time somebody said tap, I thought they meant like tap
dancing.
And I was like, oh,
you hear that
like,
a lot.
And they're like, no, like the theater arts program. I'm like, oh, they have a cute little nickname.
Yeah.
Love that. But just like, there's so many people, like in all of my classes, like I at least know one person who's involved or who likes to, even the dance kids, like they'll come in and do like the musicals. They love it. I think that's very cool. It's very big, like intertwining program.
Yeah.
Big presence.
Yeah. We definitely combine with the other cohorts too. Like you said, like the dancers come in for our main stage musical. So that's a nice time when we get to connect with them. And we're always working with like the choir and the band too to put on, like we have a performing arts formal we all put on together and stuff like that.
Oh,
yeah.
Fun. So for the freshmen specifically, I know you talked about grants a little bit. Do you know a lot about the pre-fall program? Did you do the pre-fall program?
Yeah.
Can you talk about it a little bit?
Sure. So I actually did not do the pre-fall program. I did this pre-fall program, a different one. But I actually, like I said, how I switched my grant pretty quick is because I started hanging out with the theater pre-fall during our pre-fall, which was pretty funny.
My goodness.
But yeah, even if you're not like a gung-ho, I'm going to be a theater major kid, you can still totally do the pre-fall program. But sign up quick because there's limited spots because of the stuff we do. You take a trip to the city one day, you do workshops with all our faculty, and our faculty are big names that have done a lot in the city, have their connections. We bring in people from the city, and it's just a week, of fun. Your whole day's revolved around theater. You're getting to meet some kids that are going to be in the program before. You have pre-fall leaders who are upperclassmen in the theater programs. You get to pick their brain early. You get to move in early. You get to pick your side of the room early. Pre-fall is a great time if you're interested in that, for sure.
I was too scared to do pre-fall. Like not this one.
Yeah.
I don't know what this one called.
It was like lights, camera, action or something.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
I remember because my mom, like, she was like, oh, like pre-fall, that would be fun. And I'm like, I kind of want to sleep in my bed one more week longer.
Yeah,
but everyone that I talked to that did pre-fall loved it, especially because the ones that were like, I got to move in with no one there. I was like, I didn't think about that. No, that kind of would have been nice.
It's just a good way to like dive in first and like conquer your fear a little bit, because then like by the time the week is over and everybody else is moving on campus, you already know the campus. You already feel comfortable.
It's on your belt.
Yeah, like, people.
I've been here for way longer than all of you. Yeah, like, I'm not scared anymore.
Exactly.
Oh, well, that's nice. That's funny. You just did one pre-fall and you were like,
I know, and I started hanging out with the tap kids. And then I switched my grant.
That's when you knew. It took you in. You didn't even know what was happening.
Nope. Literally, my parents joke that I called them that I was switching my grant before they even got home. That's their favorite joke.
So I've been spending some time with people. Thinking me to switch.
Yeah.
This is my calling.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
Good thing I did.
Yeah. Who would have known? And you probably have a million memories to choose from, but do you have one specific one that like sticks out when you think of your experiences?
Gosh, so many. I'd say one of my favorites, as little as it is, was, so we have a tap meeting every Monday night in the Edgerton. It's at 10 p.m. because that's when all classes get out.
Right.
And no faculty's there. It's run by the e-board. And every tapper is required to go. And obviously during COVID, we had tap meetings on Zoom, which, like, fine to get the information, but it's not the same as, like, sitting in the Edgerton with everybody every week. And the first tap meeting back after COVID was, like, the best vibes in the world because everyone was so happy to just be back together because it's honestly also, like, a little social hour. So we just, like, we run through what's going on that week, maybe 10 minutes, and then people take their time saying hi to each other, and then we trickle out for the night. People stayed like till midnight that night because they were just so happy to like see each other again. And everyone was just happy to be back because we were putting on shows again, like on a real stage without masks. Well, we were still wearing masks, but we were getting there, and it was really nice to see like the family aspect that tap values so much really like shone through that night,
Yeah, it was like first step back to like somewhat normalcy.
Totally.
Especially with it being such like a social aspect, like you said, like being in person and doing shows together, like being able to come back and be like, we can actually do what we love now again. That's awesome.
Exactly.
Oh, well, Abby, you gave me a lot of information. I really appreciate it. This program is incredible.
Thank you.
And anybody that is looking to get involved, maybe wants to get involved, something Abby said sparked your interest. Maybe they'll become a theater kid by watching this.
Please do. It's the best. You don't even know. You don't even know.
You have to join to know.
Yeah, you have to join to know.
So, some closing remarks. Do you have any advice for people who want to get involved?
Just push yourself and do it. The hardest part is like going into that interview or saying hi to someone you're scared to say hi to. Just do it, because the sooner you do it, the sooner you'll meet more people. And that's how you get involved. I've never once heard a freshman say, I regret going for tech crew. It's not happened. That's how you get involved. So just push yourself, do it, and the rest will fall into place from there.
Just take the first step.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
Thank you, Abby.
Thank you,
so
Carissa.
Incredible.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. If you liked this portion, it's just the first one out of all of our performing arts coverage. So stick with me and we'll learn some more.
Bye.
Hey guys, we're going to go into the dance program portion of our performing arts episode. And today I am joined with Allie to talk about the dance program. So thank you so much for being here with me.
Of course.
Do you want to introduce yourself really quickly?
Yeah. So, hi guys, I'm Allie Ferreira. I'm a senior here at Sacred Heart. I am a business management major and I'm from Westchester County, New York. And I am the president of the dance ensemble.
Yes. See, guys, I only get the best for you about information so that you have everything at your fingertips. So for today's episode, we're going to go over everything that Sacred Heart offers when it comes to the dance program. And it's honestly very hefty. Like, I'm obviously not personally within the dance program. I wish I was. Every time I go to see the show, I'm like, man, it'd be so nice if I could dance. If that was in my tool set, I would be unstoppable. Just kidding. So we have a lot of different groups available. And a lot of them are there's 4 of them in the program.
Yeah.
And they are company, ensemble, hip hop production, and Irish dance ensemble. So do you want to give a little bit of a breakdown as to which each of those are?
Yeah, so basically the company is more technically driven. So it's like your foundational, like modern, ballet, contemporary, those types of styles. And they're professionally run by professional staff, whereas ensemble is student run. So there's student choreographers and whatnot. And that has more of a range of like hip hop and jazz and more kind of upbeat vibes. Hip hop production is just strictly hip hop. That's ran by professional staff as well. And then the Irish team is, well, Irish step dance. And that's a whole world of its own. So yeah.
That's very fun. I know there's a lot of like different, I think, involvements when it comes to it. So I think, do most dancers, like when it comes to coming into Sacred Heart, like I know hip hop is a whole other area. We could talk about that a little bit further down the line. But when you come into the program, is it more like company and ensemble first, or maybe you're just specifically going for Irish step dancing? Like, what does that look like coming into Sacred Heart and kind of finding your groove as to where you are?
Right. So with Irish, it's a lot of people that have been trained with Irish step for like their lives. And so they know coming in, like they're auditioning for the Irish step team. And then that's when they're just kind of put in the program in general. Whereas like company and ensemble, you're auditioning for the dance program as a whole. And then our director of dance will kind of see your strengths and like weaknesses or whatnot and determine like where she like thinks that you would fit best into which like cohort of the program. And then she'll decide that for you.
Okay. And is that mostly done when you're a freshman, or when do most people do that?
So you can audition when you're already here at SHU, but almost majority of the time, it's when you're applying to Sacred Heart that you would go into an incoming freshman audition and do your audition there, typically a solo, maybe like a movement class type of thing so they could kind of get to know you. And then you're placed before you even get to campus or like are even here at all. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So it's very much like a right before you even get your schedule. That's crazy. Like you know your dance beforehand.
Yep, exactly.
Academics who. Yeah, but that's very cool. And is hip hop production, I know you do the Inception,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
Slay. Is that like an additional tryout that you do when you get here, or is that something you can also do beforehand?
So with hip hop production, it's you can do it in your original audition. It's kind of like if hip hop is your only like style of dance that you do, that is like the route you would take, as opposed to maybe ensemble or company. And Inception is a branch off of hip hop production, and it's people that, you know, find hip hop to be their like greatest strength, and you have to do a separate audition for that because it's a pre-professional track. So it's people that are really looking to like dive into hip hop and like hopefully like do that in the future as part of their career and whatnot.
Oh,
Yeah.
fun.
It's so fun. I literally love it so much.
No, those shows are like, okay, that kind of segues into my next question. But like you guys, when you do the shows, and I swear every time there's a dance show, if you ask anybody, I'm like, when is the dance show? I need to buy these tickets.
Like, I need to go.
I look forward to it every semester. So, you know, talking about that, how many shows like do you put on during a semester, and the work that you do during the year, like what does that kind of go towards each semester?
Right. So like on average, we have like a show weekend. So that's when like the ensemble will have a show, company will have a show, Irish team will have a show. And so typically that's all in the same weekend. So there's about 3 to 4 shows in that weekend. And throughout the rest of the semester, sometimes there's like a little pop-up show here and there. Like, for example, we just had Shoe Slam, which was kind of like mid-semester. And that was a combination of like company, ensemble, and hip-hop production like combining into one show. So that also happens as well. But yeah, normally I would say like 3 to 4. And our classes that we take during the week are what prep us for those shows. So we're learning the choreography in those classes each week, you know, doing formations, doing different like level changes and all that to make sure that like we're ready to go and be on that stage.
Yes, I know. And honestly, like, I know with the classes that are structured, and you can talk about this a little bit later as well, are the classes that you take throughout the week, do you only practice for the shows, or is it more like you can learn different, I don't know dancer terminology.
I know what you're asking.
Okay, like throughout the week as well?
Right. So it does vary depending on what class you're in. So when you're like making your schedule for dance at the beginning of like before the semester starts, you'll be signing up for classes that could either be like strictly choreography for the show, or it could be like more of an open style class, which you can do choreography in for the show, but also you might do like a combo for one night and like take a cute little video and like and whatnot. And then there's also separate classes that are more like foundational technique classes where you're learning more of like obviously like just dancer and your body and like figuring out things, and it's more learning as opposed to like doing choreography for a show.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm trying to explain in the best way to like non-dancers.
I appreciate that because I'm like, yes, dance. I know. And I was like, okay, how do I ask the question without actually using dance terminology? Because it's like not in my brain. But no, that's really cool because like you also get like the technique and the work outside of like just learning a dance for like the show.
Yeah. So you're still improving like your foundation as a dancer.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
No, that's very cool. So also, I know that the 2 organizations that you can be a part of, there might be like different requirements that are presented for students throughout their academic year. Like some of the people that I know like have to do a certain amount of credits per semester. So can you break that down for like what that would look like for company, ensemble? I don't know if there's requirements for hip hop and Irish dancing as well.
So with company, every company member has to take a 1 credit company course. So in like the academic like scheduling of SHU in general, there's like dance courses online on student planning and advising. So there's a company one and there's also a separate hip hop production one. So that's required to be in those cohorts. Ensemble, you're just required to take at least a minimum of 1 class for the semester. There's no really like credit or anything for that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because I know like for some people that I've talked to, like they're like, I have to do this part of my grant. So I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you audition, is that also you applying for a grant? Like how does the grant work for the dance program?
Right. So from my knowledge, there's probably more logistical stuff, but when you're auditioning and you apply to Sacred Heart, it's also part of it is like financial aid as well, because personally for me, I think I got a little bit more in my grant because I qualified for financial need.
Okay.
So that also plays a role into it. So it's like some dancers might just get it because they're like phenomenal dancers and maybe the program really wants them here at 𝚎𝚐, but also part of it could be the financial need aspect of it. So it's kind of like a mix of both.
Okay. Yeah, because I know like a lot of the performing arts, and I don't know if this is just specific to performing arts. It might not be. Okay, maybe athletics, like you get money for that. But a lot of the opportunities that are presented here also give you like the financial support if you require it or you meet that requirement to come and do like what you love at the school, which I think is really cool because it might invite more people who are like questioning if they want to either continue something that they've done or like, oh, I really want to do dance. And in between these two schools, oh, Sacred Heart's giving maybe an opportunity to add some financial aid. Right. I'm going to go there.
Right. It's like,
it's just like a little, hey, if you might, who knows?
Right.
So that's very cool. And I think you said this with the company program. So for company, it's more of professional choreography.
Right.
What does that kind of look like for ensemble? Like I know a lot of like our classmates and peers help out with choreography. Yeah. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So it's called 𝚎𝚐 Force. That's like the term for what our leadership is in ensemble. And every semester you can apply to be a choreographer and you basically submit like what you want your piece to be about, what style of dance it's going to be, like what you envision the piece. And then the director will select who she like thinks will like be fit for this role. And then we work together with our assistant director of dance. Each week we have like a meeting with her and kind of just like develop our pieces and whatnot, ask questions, help each other out. And so those are all students choreographing for the ensemble, which is really like so much fun. It's literally like my favorite thing ever. Like, because then also I can go into my class every week and I'm teaching like people my age and like, helping them to inspire them and like getting my vision out there, which is like just so amazing.
Yeah. And it really gives like a leadership opportunity within dance itself. I think a lot of people, and I've always been so interested to hear how people like choreograph pieces, because for me, like I'll listen to a song and I'm like, okay, like I don't know how I would do this, but like it's fun. And then other people that I know that dance are like, okay, like this is what I would do. And like I would add here. And I'm like, how do you do that?
Right.
But it's really cool to watch people like our age, like put on a whole performance, have the opportunity to get all the support under them to make their vision come to life.
Right.
So that's really fun. I think that's so fun. And kind of within for freshmen, since I feel like most people, like you said, people from the school can apply already, but do you think most people enter when they're freshmen for the dance program?
Yeah, I would say like a good majority do. I do have a couple friends that entered like their sophomore, junior year, and I actually like they would ask me questions about like their audition because they were nervous about it, and I'd be like, no, don't worry, like here's some tips and like help them out since I already had the experience. But most do it before coming into 𝚎𝚐 while they're like applying here. But there's always room to get involved when you're getting older, so that's not a problem, which I love that you could still get involved at any grade.
Yeah, I feel like Sacred Heart does such a good job with that with literally everything that we have here, because
100%.
It's never too late. I've said that so many times on this podcast, sorry. It's never too late to do something that you want to try.
Right.
And you can tell me if I'm wrong about this or not, but is there like an opportunity for, let's just say like, I was like, oh, I should do a dance class, even though I have literally no experience whatsoever. Okay. Like, can you like do like a 1 credit course just for fun?
Yeah. So actually the hip hop production that we've been talking about, that 1 credit is open to the university.
Oh boy.
So anyone that goes to 𝚎𝚐 can like put that on their schedule and like take the class with people that are already in the dance program. So it's definitely a mix, which is super fun. And you get to perform in one of the shows at the end of the semester with your class.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Imagine. Like,
Carissa,
imagine I did that. I'd just join with like, what is it? Like literally less than a month left. I'm like, throw me in, put me wherever. Oh my gosh. My no dance experience. Just
you would do great.
Throw it up there, But another thing for freshmen is dance has a pre-fall program, does it not?
Yes, it does.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So that week of pre-fall, basically you're taking like workshop after workshop by various people. There's professional staff and there's student choreographers as well, which is really nice. And there's 2 separate ones that once you're placed into company or ensemble or Irish or whatnot, you'll do the pre-fall with other dancers that are in that cohort as well. So, for example, for ensemble, since I'm in it, I'll talk a little bit more specifically about that. But all the ensemble members that whole week spent the week together. They would eat lunch, everything together. And then they would take the classes together. And then there was like one day where we actually all went to the city. So we took a little bus, we went there, took classes in the city, and then came back. So that was also a great experience. And it's just a great way to like get to know members of the dance program already before you even like start your academic classes.
Yeah. I think a lot of people speak so highly about pre-fall because of that opportunity. But I think especially too, like like a lot of people that I know, like dance is like their life. And that's why they want to do it so much. People would do multiple classes. My Gigi Little, like her entire schedule is just all dance.
Yeah.
She's
like mine.
She's like, I don't even have academics in here. I was like, girl, do what you gotta do.
Same.
But I think that's really fun. I feel like I've heard so many speaking highly about the dance pre-fall program. So that's really great opportunity for freshmen.
100%.
So even though we've done like a huge overall of the dance program, I kind of wanted to hear a little bit about your experience since you are one of the most involved people that I know in the dance program, hence why she's here.
Yes.
We love her for that. So do you kind of want to touch upon like how your dance journey at Sacred Heart began? Like I know you are in ensemble. What did that process kind of look like for you when you were looking to come to Sacred Heart?
Right. So I was applying. Well, I visited Sacred Heart and then like I applied and whatnot. And I kept you put interest, and one of them was dance. I knew I wanted to dance in college. I just didn't know to like what extent. And so I kept getting these emails like dance program, dance team. And I'm like, wait, there's 2 separate things. Like, what is that? What does that even mean? So I looked into both. And at the time which was like, 4 years ago? Oh my God, like we're getting so old. I can't do this anymore. But dance team wasn't like D1 or anything. So I don't know if they are now because I don't really know much about them, but they didn't give out like any scholarship opportunities or anything like that. And the dance program was. And for me, something about Sacred Heart was that I needed more financial like aid to come to this school. So I auditioned for the dance program and I had to perform a solo in the Älterton Theater.
Ooh.
And then I took like a workshop class with one of the professional staff. And then a couple weeks later, I got an email saying like, oh, like, congrats, like you've been selected to be in the dance ensemble. And I was like, oh my God, like this is so exciting. And also when I was reading more about the different cohorts, I was like, wait, like the ensemble lets you be a choreographer. Like that's so awesome because I was the captain of my dance team in high school. So I would choreograph for that. And then at my home studio, I would also like teach like all the like little kids dance as well. So like I wanted something where I could be kind of in a leadership role with that as well. So finally I get here and I get to school and I made a bunch of friends, took a couple classes, and then I was like, I need to apply to be a choreographer. And I did. And I just kept applying every semester. And now I'm the president.
And now you're here. And now you're here. That's funny. I mean, like, I actually forgot that the dance team, I know that they're part of that. I don't know if they're D1 or not, but that is another, opportunity.
Well, I think they just
dance.
got like not promoted is the word, but like just selected or something for it. So that's awesome for them.
Yeah. So like even outside of like that, you have so many different opportunities to dance at any level that you wanted to.
Right. Exactly.
That's cool. And being able to take like the skills that you learned like in high school, being able to choreograph more, I think that was probably, like you said, something that really drew you into this program.
Right.
How would you say like the dance program here compares to the experiences that you've had like in high school? Like that could be environment, community, like anything along those lines.
Right. So when I was high school and younger, I was on a competitive dance team. So we were there like after school every day on the weekends, like all day. And it was like a smaller team. So it was kind of just like that group of people. And because it was competitive, we were like always like going at it. And like, it was honestly like wild. I love it. I'm still very close with everyone at my studio and my home studio owner. Like I'm very close with her. Coming here, it's like, as a freshman, it was very much more laid back because like we're not trying to like compete or anything. It's more of just like taking classes, like feeling your love for dance, being comfortable in it. Like it's kind of like a stress relief going to dance and whatnot, and then like being able to perform and showcase like your talents at the end of the semester, which I feel like is awesome. Like not competing has been such like a different like way to like find my love for dance, and like I just love it so much. And also like the community here is just like so, I think because we're getting older too, everyone's kind of like at a point in their life where they're just like, this is what I want to be doing, and I'm like, this is why I'm here type of thing. So like you could tell how like passionate everyone is about it, and like that draws us so close. Like my closest group of friends at Sacred Heart is the people I dance with, and I'm involved in a lot of other things like sorority, and like I did like orientation leader for a little while, and like all this different stuff, and like dance is like my close knit like family here, which like is just I'm like emotional.
It's your consistency. Like
exactly.
I think that's one of the things that I really wanted to like showcase with this project, especially because there are so many people who get involved at different levels, but the people that are really like thrown into it, like that is your home. Like when you think of Sacred Heart, it's like, of course, like our university is like our home, but everyone finds like their little like spot within the things that they're involved in.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's awesome. This, there's probably a lot that you could mention with this one. But what do you think like your favorite part about the dance program here is?
Oh my God. Like I can't even like pick because there's literally so much. And because now like over the 4 years, I've like met so many people, I've taken so many classes, and like I've had so many opportunities within the program that I feel it's just like pushed me. Like we've like traveled and stuff within the program, and like had different choreographers come in, and like being that I'm on ensemble and Inception, it's like helped me like really like expand and like spread my wow, that was a little fumble. Spread my wings. And so I feel like I'm like learning a lot about like myself as a dancer. Like I've definitely grown from like freshman year to like senior year. So just being able to like take all the opportunities that I have and like work with them and like improve and whatnot, just because like I'm not going to be able to dance forever. So like I'm just trying to like take it all in. And I think that's like one of the greatest things about this program here.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite like specific memory from the dance program over your 4 years? I know.
I gotta say, there is a lot. Like honestly, half of it's probably in the back of my mind that like needs to come out of its shell. But like I'm thinking about it because it just happened this past weekend, and like we did it last year as well. But Shoe Slam is like one of the greatest things ever, because the dancers actually sit in the audience before they like while the show is going on and like go on and off the stage to perform. The crowd for Shoe Slam is literally the best crowd I've ever like had in my life. Like they are so hype. They were so like inspiring. Like I literally just like my adrenaline like has never been so high in like that type of show. So definitely Shoe Slam.
That was good. I didn't get to go this year, but when I went last year, it was like, it's like just hype.
Yeah, it's a lot. I like loved it.
It's also cool like when you go to see like the two shows. Because like for the dance program, isn't there like a requirement to watch at least one of the shows that you're in, or like another one?
Yeah. So it's like if you're an ensemble, you would go to like a company or Irish show. So like you would go to at least one other show that you're not performing in once a semester.
Okay. So like you have like the dancers in the audience as well. Everyone's like yelling, hyping each other up. It's just like you feel the community even if you're not in the community.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, oh my gosh, wow. Like
it's so inspiring, so magical. We've covered a lot today, and I really appreciate you giving your time and your energy for this. Kind of to wrap it all up together, is there any specific advice that you would give people coming into SHU, or maybe they've already been here, about the dance program in general?
Right. Well, one thing about dance, I feel like in college in general, is because a lot of people I've been talking to, like, just were unsure if they wanted to dance in college, unsure if they want to even continue it once they've done it for their 2 years and then maybe, like, stopped the last 2 years. But, like, I just say, like, just don't stop dancing. Even if it's, like, one class a week, like, it's so rewarding to just be able to, like, do something that you like or love or you're super passionate about, or like you just like you know, like there's different levels of it, obviously. So just don't stop that. Like it's something that's so rewarding, and there's so many opportunities in the program that you can like get what you put into it. So I just feel like my like best advice is to just not give up on like what you're doing, because there's a place for you in every part of the program. Even if like you feel like maybe you're not the most technical dancer, because even myself, like I'm not the most like technical like ballet dancer. Like my strength is hip hop. And like, so I was like very nervous about doing it in college, because I was like, what if all these like people are kind of just like ballerinas? But now I'm like, literally look where I am. I've improved as a dancer so much, and like I've gotten to even improve my technique and everything. So yeah, like
Yeah, that sounds so fun. I mean, like overall, like it's whatever you want to do, like just don't stop because you're afraid.
right, exactly. It's like one of the biggest things, because you never know what you're gonna make out of it. I didn't think that I was gonna be on this pre-professional track of hip hop while being the ensemble president. So now I'm like, wait, maybe I do want to find like a professional career in dance with like, which if you asked me a few years ago, I was like, I'm gonna be done soon.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be retired from dance. But like now, I don't know.
You never know. Maybe you'll be back here. Maybe Allie will be teaching you.
Yes.
Who knows?
Maybe I'll be in the Super Bowl halftime with Rihanna next
Oh
time.
my God. I'm gonna be like, I know her. I know her. All right. Well, that was incredible. Thank you so much,
Of
Allie.
course. Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. Thank you guys for watching this episode. I know there's a lot of information that came out of everything today, but I hope it was helpful, engaging, and I will see you in performing arts at some point, hopefully, in your Sacred Heart career. So for this week's episode, I hope you got everything that you needed, and I will see you next week for the second half of performing arts, where we'll learn a little bit more about the band and the orchestra and choir. So with that, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you soon.